He had one of the best seats in the paddock. He walked away from it anyway. Ogura is sitting on a satellite Aprilia that is fast enough to win races and fight for a MotoGP World Championship. Not competitive. Not promising. Fast enough to beat factory machines. And in the middle of the best MotoGP season of his life, Ogura looked at that Aprilia, looked at the championship opportunity sitting directly in front of him, and chose Yamaha for 2027. A factory currently buried near the back. A motorcycle that cannot offer him anything close to what the Aprilia can offer him today. But let's correct one thing immediately. Ogura did not tear up his current Trackhouse contract. His existing deal runs until the end of 2026. Trackhouse wanted him to continue, and there had already been serious movement toward keeping that relationship alive. Then Yamaha arrived. They moved quickly. They moved aggressively, and they offered Ogura something Trackhouse could never completely reproduce. A place inside a full factory team for the beginning of MotoGP's new era. Justin Marks did not pretend to understand every detail behind the decision. He admitted that he could not fully work out what had motivated Ogura to leave. But he also made something else clear. He did not want Ogura to go. He was disappointed. He considered Ogura an incredible young rider. So this is not the story of a team casually throwing away a title contender. It is the story of a rider walking away even though his team wanted him to stay. And that makes the decision even more fascinating. Because if Trackhouse valued him, Aprilia gave him a winning motorcycle, and the championship was already within reach, what exactly convinced Ogura to leave? There cannot be one simple answer. There is a list, and every possibility tells us something different about the size of the gamble Ogura is making. Possibility 1. Blood calls to blood. For a Japanese rider, a Yamaha factory seat is not just another contract. It carries history. Yamaha and Honda built enormous parts of MotoGP's legacy. Japanese engineering once controlled this championship, and generations of Japanese riders grew up watching those factories represent their country at the highest level of motorcycle racing. Now that empire is wounded. The European manufacturers took control. Ducati became the reference. Aprilia became a genuine championship weapon. KTM forced its way into the conversation. Meanwhile, Yamaha went from winning championships to fighting for survival. That is exactly why Ogura's move could mean more than performance. If he succeeds on an Aprilia, he becomes another brilliant rider winning on a brilliant European motorcycle. But if he helps bring Yamaha back, he becomes something much bigger. He becomes the Japanese rider who helped revive a Japanese giant. Yamaha has openly celebrated the importance of putting a Japanese rider inside its factory team. Ogura will not simply wear Yamaha colors. He will carry a national story that the factory has been waiting years to tell. But nationality alone cannot explain everything. Ogura previously rejected a route into MotoGP through Honda because he did not believe the opportunity was right for his career. He was willing to step away from the Japanese system, join a different Moto2 team, and build his own path. That tells us something important. Ogura is not choosing Yamaha simply because the badge is Japanese. If that were enough, he could have followed Honda years ago. Something about this specific Yamaha project convinced him that the emotional value and the sporting opportunity were finally pointing in the same direction. This is not blind loyalty. This is calculated loyalty. Possibility 2. The factory contract changed the mathematics. We do not know Ogura's salary. We do not know exactly how much Yamaha offered or what Trackhouse was prepared to pay. So anyone claiming this was purely a money decision is guessing. But factory contracts are not only about salary. They bring status, security, technical influence, long-term protection. And Ogura has signed for 2 complete seasons, 2027 and 2028. A satellite Aprilia may be the stronger motorcycle today, but Trackhouse can never give him the same position inside a manufacturer that Yamaha can. At Trackhouse, Ogura rides an Aprilia project. At Yamaha, Ogura becomes part of the project itself. That difference matters when a rider is 25 years old and suddenly has maximum leverage. Ogura had an average rookie season. Then everything changed. He became a Grand Prix winner, a championship threat, and one of the hottest names in the rider market. That kind of leverage does not last forever. One injury can destroy it. One difficult season can erase it. One new rookie can replace it. Ogura may have understood that this was the exact moment to convert performance into factory security. Not after another season, not after the market moved. Now, while Yamaha needed him badly enough to offer 2 years and a central role in its future. This may not be a story about choosing money over motorcycles. It may be a story about choosing ownership over rental. Trackhouse could give Ogura a faster bike. Yamaha could give him a factory career. Possibility 3. He is betting on the reset. The 2027 season is not an ordinary regulation change. MotoGP is moving from 1000cc engines to 850cc. Aerodynamics will be reduced. Ride height devices will disappear. Pirelli will replace Michelin as the official tire supplier. The motorcycle Ogura is leaving, and the motorcycle he is joining will not remain the same. That changes the entire calculation. If the current regulations were continuing unchanged, leaving Aprilia for Yamaha would look almost impossible to defend. But 2027 tears up the existing competitive order. Every manufacturer has to build a new engine, understand a new tire, and redesign its entire concept around different technical limits. Aprilia's advantage today does not guarantee an advantage tomorrow. Yamaha's weakness today does not guarantee weakness tomorrow. Ogura is not necessarily choosing the current Yamaha over the current Aprilia. He is choosing Yamaha's unknown 2027 motorcycle over Aprilia's unknown 2027 motorcycle. That is still a gamble, but it is a very different gamble, and Ogura carries one weapon into that reset that makes Yamaha's interest even more logical. Pirelli experience. Moto2 switched to Pirelli tires in 2024. Ogura won the championship that season. He already understands how to extract performance from the company that will supply MotoGP from 2027. That does not guarantee that he will immediately understand a MotoGP Pirelli, but it gives him relevant experience at the exact moment every factory rider will be forced to relearn the limits. Then there is the historical temptation. During MotoGP's old 800cc era, Japanese manufacturers won 4 of the 5 world championships. Yamaha won in 2008, 2009, and 2010. Honda won in 2011. But this is where the comparison must remain honest. The new 850cc regulations are not a return to the old 800cc formula. The tires, aerodynamics, electronics, and entire engineering environment are different. And Ducati was not irrelevant during that era. Ducati and Casey Stoner won the very first 800cc championship in 2007. History does not prove that Yamaha will rise again. It only proves that a major regulation reset can destroy the existing order faster than people expect. Ogura may believe Yamaha has seen something in the new rules. Maybe he has seen the development plan. Maybe Yamaha convinced him that its new motorcycle will suit his smooth, precise riding style. Or maybe he simply looked at the reset and recognized the one moment when joining a struggling factory could become less dangerous than staying comfortable. Because if Yamaha gets the 2027 motorcycle wrong, Ogura could sacrifice the best years of his career. But if Yamaha gets it right, he will have entered the project before its value exploded. He will not arrive after the resurrection. He will be one of the men who created it. Possibility 4. He is choosing influence over immediate speed. At Trackhouse, Ogura can win races. He can fight for the championship. He can prove that he belongs among MotoGP's elite. But the direction of the motorcycle will still be controlled primarily by Aprilia's factory operation. Trackhouse receives strong machinery and technical support, but it does not control the entire manufacturer. Ogura can provide feedback. He can help his crew. He can influence the setup around him. But he cannot become the center of Aprilia's engineering universe. At Yamaha, his voice could carry more weight. That does not mean Yamaha will build the motorcycle exclusively around Ogura. He will share the factory garage with Jorge Martin, the 2024 world champion and one of the fastest riders of this generation. Martin will arrive with championship experience, enormous status, and his own clear technical demands. Ogura will not walk into Yamaha as the undisputed number one. He will not automatically become the only face of the rebuild, but he will become one of only two riders directly responsible for shaping Yamaha's new factory motorcycle. That is a completely different level of involvement. Martin brings aggression, experience, and the ability to expose a motorcycle's limit immediately. Ogura brings precision, smoothness, Pirelli experience, and a Japanese connection that matters deeply to Yamaha. One rider gives Yamaha a proven championship reference. The other gives it a younger rider who could grow with the project for years. That combination may be exactly what attracted Ogura. He does not have to carry Yamaha alone. He gets to enter the new regulations beside a world champion, measure himself against that standard, and help develop the same motorcycle. That is not the easy route. Martin could destroy him inside the same garage. If the Yamaha struggles, Martin's experience could make Ogura look ordinary. If the Yamaha succeeds and Martin wins immediately, Ogura could become the second name in Yamaha's story. But there is another side to that danger. If Ogura matches Martin, he proves that he belongs at the absolute highest level. If he beats Martin, his entire career changes. At Trackhouse, people can always argue that the Aprilia made the difference. At Factory Yamaha, beside a world champion, there will be nowhere to hide. And perhaps Ogura does not want somewhere to hide. Perhaps he wants the hardest possible measurement of what he really is. Possibility 5. He understands that the perfect seat may not remain perfect. This is where the decision becomes uncomfortable. Trackhouse and Aprilia are giving Ogura a championship-level opportunity today. That deserves respect. Trackhouse wanted to keep him. Justin Marks publicly made his disappointment clear. This was not a rider being ignored or casually pushed out. But MotoGP contracts are not built on gratitude. They are built on timing. The motorcycle market moves brutally fast. A seat that looks secure in August can disappear before the next summer break. Factory teams chase champions. Satellite teams chase available talent. Manufacturers change priorities. One rider becomes injured, another becomes available, and suddenly the entire grid moves. Ogura knows that better than most. His own rise happened quickly. One season changed him from an interesting MotoGP rider into a Grand Prix winner and championship contender. That same speed can work in reverse. A difficult year can change how the paddock sees him. The Aprilia could stop suiting him. A younger rider could arrive. A major champion could enter the market. Trackhouse could change its preferred lineup. None of that means Trackhouse planned to replace him. The evidence says the opposite. It wanted the relationship to continue. But wanting a rider today is not the same as guaranteeing his position through an entire regulation cycle. Yamaha placed a 2-year factory contract in front of him, covering 2027 and 2028. That gives Ogura protection through the opening phase of the new era. It gives him time to understand the new motorcycle, time to adapt to the Pirelli tires, time to survive the inevitable development problems without immediately fighting for another contract. That security matters, especially when the alternative is waiting one more year and hoping the same factory opportunity still exists. Because Yamaha did not need to wait. It had Jorge Martin. It already possessed the headline signing. It could have selected another experienced rider, another young prospect, or someone already inside its system. Instead, it chose Ogura. That choice told him exactly how highly Yamaha valued him at that moment. If Ogura rejected the offer and his form later collapsed, the door might never open again. So maybe this was not about escaping Trackhouse. Maybe it was about recognizing that factory opportunities do not ask twice. Possibility 6. He wants to find out how big his name can become. Winning on the strongest motorcycle is one kind of greatness. Rebuilding a fallen manufacturer is another. Ogura can stay with Trackhouse, continue fighting at the front, and possibly become a world champion. That would already be an extraordinary achievement. But riders at this level do not always make decisions according to the safest path toward a trophy. Sometimes they make decisions according to the story they want attached to their name. Yamaha does not need another passenger. It needs riders willing to walk into a damaged project and accept responsibility for what happens next. The factory has history, championships, resources, engineering power. But history does not make the current motorcycle fast. Money does not guarantee that the 850cc machine will work. A famous badge cannot protect Ogura when the stopwatch starts. If Yamaha fails, nobody will care how romantic the idea looked when he signed. People will say he abandoned a winning Aprilia. They will say he traded trophies for factory status. They will replay this decision every time he qualifies near the back. They will ask why a championship contender willingly left one of the best motorcycles on the grid. And they will be right to ask. This move can damage his career. That possibility cannot be softened. Ogura could spend 2027 and 2028 developing a motorcycle that never becomes competitive. He could watch Trackhouse continue winning without him. He could watch another rider take the Aprilia seat he surrendered and fight for the championship Ogura might have won. He could become the warning every young rider hears when a struggling factory offers a large contract and a beautiful promise. But if it works, then everything changes. If Yamaha returns to the front under the new regulations, Ogura will not be remembered as the man who climbed onto a finished motorcycle. He will be remembered as the man who arrived when the factory was wounded. The Japanese rider who entered the garage before the comeback became fashionable. The rider who risked a proven championship weapon because he believed he could help wake up one of MotoGP's sleeping giants. That is the ceiling of this decision. Not merely another race win, not merely another contract. Legacy. Now stack every possibility together. The Japanese connection, the factory status, the 2-year security, the technical influence, the Pirelli experience, the regulation reset, the chance to work beside Jorge Martin, the possibility of becoming part of Yamaha's resurrection. This is not one clean decision driven by one clean reason. And it is not proof that Ogura values money more than winning. It is the decision of a 25-year-old rider whose value has never been higher, looking beyond the motorcycle underneath him today and trying to predict what MotoGP will become tomorrow. Trackhouse offered him something real, a competitive Aprilia, a team that valued him, a genuine championship opportunity. Yamaha offered him something that does not exist yet, a new motorcycle, a new regulation era, a factory position, and the chance to help create the future instead of simply benefiting from the present. That is what makes this move so dangerous. Ogura has exchanged evidence for belief. The Aprilia has already proved what it can do. The Yamaha has proved nothing. Every argument supporting this move depends on something happening later. Yamaha must design the right engine. It must understand the Pirelli tires. It must recover the engineering speed it has lost. It must listen to Martin and Ogura. And it must transform promises made during contract negotiations into performance on the racetrack. If even one major part of that plan fails, Ogura may discover that factory status means absolutely nothing when the motorcycle cannot reach the front. But perhaps that is exactly why he made the decision now. Anyone can join a factory after it starts winning. Anyone can believe in a project after the lap times prove it works. Ogura has chosen to enter before the evidence exists, before the resurrection, before the applause. That is either extraordinary vision or a career-changing mistake. There may be no middle ground. So no, Ogura did not leave because Trackhouse failed to value him. He did not leave because Aprilia could not give him a winning motorcycle. And we cannot honestly claim that he left purely for money, nationality, or emotion. He left because Yamaha offered him a different kind of future. Trackhouse could show him exactly what he had. Yamaha asked him to imagine what he could become. Right now, Ogura is walking away from the safer motorcycle, the faster motorcycle, the motorcycle capable of fighting for the championship today. He is leaving certainty behind and placing the most important years of his career inside a machine that has not been built yet. If Yamaha fails, this decision will follow him forever. But if Yamaha rises, Ogura will not look like the rider who walked away from MotoGP's best opportunity. He will look like the only rider brave enough to recognize the next one before anybody else could see it.